In today's video, we're going to talk about the pros and cons of Disney's Port Orleans Resort French Quarter. This is a moderate category resort, which basically means in between expensive and expensive.
You get that expensive feel without that necessarily expensive price.
That made it actually difficult when coming up with a list of negatives or cons.
Listen, it's a great resort. Coming up with the cons for the French Quarter, it's kind of like coming up with cons of why you shouldn't visit Disney World in general. There's not a lot of them.
Or why you shouldn't order the Tonga toast.
Right? Exactly.
All right, well, starting things off, first things first, beignets for days.
This is one of the places in Disney World where you can get beignets. And this is the place where you should go get the beignets.
This is my all-time favorite. They have the Scat Club Cafe where you can get beignets. They're open very early in the morning, and you can enjoy a beignet with your coffee. They're like little pillow fluffiness, Mickey-shaped deliciousness, or you can have it as a dessert later in the day.
Now, those from New Orleans may not want to go get these beignets because they're not like they are in
true.
In New Orleans themselves. They're Mickey-shaped, first of all, which anything Mickey-shaped is obviously way better than anything not Mickey-shaped. But for those of us not from New Orleans who like that New Orleans vibe and want to get some beignets and feel like we're in New Orleans without having to go there, this is the second best option.
Next pro, it's a quaint, small resort with a lot of details.
One of the best things I like about this resort is the fact that you can walk around and you can find these little nooks and crannies of the resort with benches and causeways and walkways. You can just kind of sit down and listen to the vibes of the resort itself and just relax and enjoy the environment without a ton of people around you.
There's cobblestone walkways, wrought iron balconies, colorful Mardi Gras characters, and just the sound of jazz music that's surrounding the resort that just makes you so relaxed and it's welcoming.
They did a great job of making this feel like they do in the French Quarter itself.
It's truly an escape. That's why I love this resort so much. I truly feel like I have traveled to New Orleans and I'm just immersed in that experience. So I love it.
The other thing I like about the quaintness and smallness of the resort is no matter where you're staying at the French Quarter, you have easy access to the lobby, to the dining area, to the pool, to the jacuzzi. So no matter where you are, sometimes you stay at these moderate resorts and they tend to be really large and you have to request a room closer to the amenities. The French Quarter, you don't necessarily need to do that. Yes, there are rooms that are closer to the lobby and the pool, but no matter where you're staying, you're relatively close compared to other moderates to the amenities that this resort offers.
That makes a huge difference, especially if you're looking for a romantic resort, an intimate resort, or if you just want a smaller resort after a long day of hitting the parks.
Or if you just don't want to take a taxi to get your coffee in the morning.
That is also true. All right, next for the pros is the Scat Club. Now, we mentioned before about beignets, but this Scat Club is a lounge in the resort, and it is so incredibly themed. It's a New Orleans-style lounge with jazz music, very, very intimate, and has some meals. It has some items that you can purchase for meals or just a drink or appetizer, whatever you want to do, or just enjoy the music and hang out. It's one of my absolute favorite little hidden gems in Walt Disney World.
It says toe-tapping tunes and tasty treats. Live entertainment performances start at 7:30 p.m. on Fridays through Sundays, which means Friday, Saturday, Sunday is what they should say.
Probably. They have cocktails, specialty cocktails, mocktails, whatever you're in the mood for, you can find it here and just relax if you're going with another family or if you're going with your partner and you just have this just relaxing atmosphere. It's one of my absolute favorite little treasures. It's not usually that busy and I love it. You can always usually find a little seating table and enjoy your evening. All right, the next one is great amenities. They have so many great things here, and I think, it goes back to the ambiance of their whole resort. So they have things like horse-drawn carriage rides, very beautiful Surrey bike rentals, which is so much fun. We've talked about that in the past, so much fun. So it's just overall a really great resort, just ambiance-wise and romantic-wise.
You know what? The other thing that's great about this resort is it's right next to Port Orleans Riverside, which is one of those larger resorts that we talked about. So if you are a runner or you like to get out into the environment in the morning and take a nice walk or do want to rent a bike and ride one, there's a large property right next door that you can get your outdoorsy feel if you want the quaintness of the resort that you're staying at, but you also want to be able to get out there and take a walk or take a run or take a bike ride to make sure that you do exercise a little bit, even though, calories don't count in Disney, so you don't really need to exercise. But hey, some of us like to.
Of course. I don't know who those people are, but hey, it's fun.
It's also great to take a walk over to Riverside and be able to use those amenities. You almost get 2 resorts for the price of 1.
All right, next up for pros is easy access to Disney Springs, formerly known as Downtown Disney, for those of you that are not up to par with the Disney newer language of things. But Disney Springs, this is super easy. There's a boat that's literally at your doorstep, and you go from your resort room, and you can go to Disney Springs and enjoy dinner very quickly.
It's a cool boat ride, too. There's nothing better than being able to take Disney transportation that isn't overly crowded, or I should say isn't a bus. Disney bus transportation is available. It is free. It is okay, but it's not the best form of transportation. So if you are looking to go for a dinner at Disney Springs, the boat ride from French Quarter to Disney Springs is pretty cool.
It's an attraction on its own.
Yeah, I was trying to come up with a word of how to describe it, but pretty cool was it. That's all I could come up with.
All right, moving on. Next one is the moderate pricing, and we talked about this early on in the beginning of the video. It also makes us love this resort a lot more because it can be affordable. Rooms start around $250 and up, and it's a place where I think has everything that Disney has to offer: great food, great ambiance, a lot of amenities, cleanliness, and it doesn't necessarily break the bank.
It seems to be quite available too. I don't know why people don't think about the French Quarter. Maybe it's one of the cons we'll talk about in a minute, but it seems to be quite available. Whenever you're looking for a room, as long as you have 4 or less people, there's always a room available at the French Quarter. I don't know why it's overlooked by so many people who go to Disney.
All right, moving on to the cons list. I hate doing cons, but we have to. Got to talk about some of the negatives that we find is throughout this resort, and that way it helps you decide whether or not you want to stay here. Number 1, I have to say, the pool and the water slide is not my favorite.
It's definitely great if you have small children, but if you are an adult or a teen looking to use the pool and experience a Disney pool that they have with these slides, this isn't the best one you're going to choose.
I love the theming. It's an alligator band and blue sea serpent water slide, which happens to be my favorite theme, but it's a little bit non-climatic. When you go down the water slide, it's very lame. It's kind of lame. And the pool itself is not very big, which I find makes it kind of hot. Like this particular pool, I never really feel refreshed when I go in because obviously Central Florida, it's pretty hot. And this pool being as small as it is doesn't necessarily get cooled down, I think, as the other larger pools on the property.
Yeah, if you want to go take a look down a nice slide or enjoy a large pool, maybe you want to take a walk down to Riverside and use that pool. But this pool, this is one of those pools where I'm like, you know what? If I stay at the French Quarter, I'm planning my day around park visits and hanging out and eating. The pool isn't something I'm planning to go to the French Quarter for.
And you know what? That's a good point. I guess that could be a pro, if you will, because you can use the Port Orleans Riverside pool. So you are allowed. This is one of the resorts where you're allowed to use both pools. So if you're finding that this pool isn't up to your speed and you want to go to the other one, it's a short walk over.
And you know what? We found a pro out of a con.
That's right.
And also, yeah, we did another video not too long ago about couples resorts for couples going to Disney. And, sometimes when you're a couple going to Disney, maybe it's a weekend getaway and you're not going to spend that much time at the pool. You're looking to do some dinners. You're looking to go to the parks and hang out at night or go to Epcot. And the pool just isn't on your radar. This is the perfect resort if you are one of those couples looking to go to Disney. And the pool is just not something you're going to do that weekend.
All right, on to another con. This one hurts us in particular because we are a larger family. Rooms do not accommodate for families of 5.
Technically.
Rooms do not accommodate technically. Yes, you can get 2 rooms, but then it becomes really pricey. There are other options that might be more affordable to you to fit the 5th person in that room.
Or just leave your kid at home.
That as well.
Draw straws, right? Like if you have 3 kids like we do, just draw straws and you know what? I'm sorry. One of you has got to stay home.
Pick your favorite.
We're going to the French Quarter and unfortunately it only sleeps 4. So one of you is going to have to stay home and take care of the house.
Last but not least, there's bus transportation and water transportation that we discussed, and it is not necessarily a long ride to whether you're going to the theme parks or you're going to Disney Springs. However, sometimes waiting for that water taxi or bus transportation, it can be a little slow.
Definitely. The bus transportation is definitely something that I would try to avoid. Use the boat transportation if you can, or maybe a minivan. Those are available for you to go to the parks or to downtown Disney Springs if that's what you want to do. But the bus to me is something I always try to avoid at all costs, unless you're going at off-peak times, not in the morning when the park's open or at night when they're closing. We've taken the bus in the mid-afternoon to go somewhere, and it wasn't as bad, and they seem to come a little bit more, not frequently, but when they do come, they're not as crowded.
Exactly. Well, that's going to do it for our cons. We didn't have many, I told you. It was really hard to come up with a lot because we love this resort. It's one of our favorites. It's always our go-to. Whenever we're going to Walt Disney World, we try to check out and see if this resort is available for us. So let us know what you think.
Yeah, let us know what you think of these resorts. Have you ever stayed at the French Quarter? If you have, what are some pros and some cons that you found by staying there? We haven't found too many cons of staying there. The major one for us is the fact that it doesn't accommodate 5 people. I wish that they would allow or figure out a way to somehow accommodate a 5th person, whether that be a pull-down bed or a cot, because this probably would be the perfect resort for a family because it's affordable, it's small, the pool is good if you're a small family, but the fact that it doesn't accommodate 5 people is a huge con. But let us know what you think in the comments below. We would love to hear from you. Leave a comment, hit the like on the subscribe button for this video, and we'll see you back here next week, everybody.